Thanks very much for joining us, Reece. What a big weekend it is, a big Saturday night for the Launceston Tornadoes, possibly the biggest in your time here at the club, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. I think building into the playoffs, we had the massive win against Kilsyth last weekend, which just keeps the chance for a home final alive. So we're really looking forward to getting out there on Saturday night and taking on a tough Frankston side and trying to get another win and give ourselves a chance at that home final.
Can you give us a detailed description of exactly what needs to happen? Probably, first of all, if you're going to meet the Hobart Lady Chargers, which would be tremendous for basketball in Tasmania, and just for a home final, what needs to happen?
Yeah, so basically, if we want to play Hobart have to lose on Friday night, so we'll know where that's at after their game. I think Friday 6 o'clock. So we'll have a rough idea then. So if they lose, there's a fair chance we'll come up against them. If we win, it'll be in Launceston because we've got the split over them. If we lose, it would be in Hobart because they'd have the extra win. So there's certainly potential for that. We're not planning on that, but if it did happen, it'd be massive for basketball in Tasmania.
And Reece, just on yourself, obviously. Assistant coach of the Sydney University Flames in the WNBL, coming down here to Launceston. What drew you here? I mean, the club 2 years ago won just one game for the season, and I think 6 last year. But what was the attraction for you to come down here and coach the Tornadoes?
Yeah, I guess partly it was just opportunity, and so I was in an assistant coach role, like you said, with Sydney, and I guess once I got that, the next thing I was looking for is a head coach role at the next level, which is the Siebel. So the Launceston job came up with a couple others, and in my research with people that I trusted, they had pretty good reports about the crowds and the way it was run in the past. And I thought it would be a good opportunity to come down here and do something special. And luckily, we've been able to sort of build towards that.
How did you get to be an assistant coach at the Flames? Because you're still only a young man, and I guess I don't know what your history is, whether you played the game before yourself, or you've been a statistician, or you've been a tactician. How did you actually get there as an assistant to the Flames?
Yeah, I guess pretty rapid rise in a way, and that's why I've been lucky enough to get this position. So previously, I guess I was involved in a lot of junior coaching, junior state teams in New South Wales, and then NITP, which is similar to the high performance stuff down here in Basketball Tas. And sort of through that, I through one of our head coaches, met Shannon Seabohm, who's now the coach of the Flames and was in his first year, and only had met him once or twice. And I was on my last teaching prac of my university degree, and I got this message on my phone, and it said, this is Shannon, I want to talk to you about becoming involved with the Flames, and tried to call him back every day for a week, and he never got back to me. I thought it was someone pranking me, actually, and ended up, he got back to me after a week, and we went from there, and, it was a really good opportunity, and so it was just a bit of a chance thing that through a coach that I'd been with, that I'd got to meet him, and we'd spoke about basketball and things, and he got to know me and trusted me, and it went from there, and it's become a really good coaching relationship, and now I can call him one of my good friends.
And Reece, it was you hit the ground running when you arrived down here in Launceston. I think for memory, the day you arrived, you took a training session, and obviously getting to know the squad. You've got a great mix of some really talented junior basketballers here in northern Tasmania, obviously with some terrific recruits as well. Where have you seen the development with the Tornadoes? Because really, from about a third of the way through the season, we've really seen a big improvement. Yeah,
so I think with our group, it was always going to take a little bit of time. New coach, some new imports, even some new local players, plus a few that have been there. So, and about changing sort of the way we go about it, the culture, and we got a really good group together. I mean, from the local girls, you couldn't get a better group of people. And hopefully we can hang on to them for a couple of years, which is always tough when people move away for uni and all these things. But we just got a good bunch of people, and I think that's the first thing that's really helped us be successful. People like you, Gemma Korpacek, Emma Russell, and these sort of people are really, they're good quality people as well as good basketball players.
I know that the Tornadoes, over the past couple of years, prior to you being here, everyone was screaming out, we need tools, we need tools. Now, I had a look at some stats in the Siebel, and Michaela Roof has just been an amazing player for you guys, because I think this is where the improvement has come from. I think the side's always had a certain amount of ability, but Michaela is second in the competition in offensive rebounds, and with 102, 183 defensive rebounds at 14. Now, in past years, we weren't getting our hands on the ball from a perspective. The Launceston Tornadoes weren't getting our hands on the ball, and now with Michaela being here, it allows you to be able to set up play because you've got a strong rebounder there.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think she's been huge, and we're really lucky to have a player of her calibre in our team. And yeah, you certainly need that extra size. Especially in Tassie, there's not that size there, like you said. So we've picked up a really good player and a really good person in Michaela, and she's helped make all of us in the club better. And her rebounding's unbelievable. I mean, she prides herself on that, and her aim's to get 30 rebounds a game. She hasn't done it yet, but
14.
Yeah, she's getting close. She's averaging 14, but she wants to get 30 in one game, and that's I wouldn't be surprised if she does it. She goes after it harder than anyone. But she's done that, and then you have other players like Ali Wilson that can then chip in with 8 rebounds. And then we've got some local girls, like I said, and Ali Partridge and that who go after it hard as well. So that really helps. Possession's key. If you don't turn it over and you rebound well, it's key.
Total points per player, I think Ali Wilson is the one that comes in at 10th in the competition. So you sit third on the ladder. So you've got a very good spread of players that are able to score for you. Ali Wilson is 10th in the comp. She's got 397 points for the year. So you don't really rely on one person to do all your scoring, and that must be a very good thing. We know in football parlances we like, in AFL football, they like as many goal kickers as they can.
Yep.
Is that a little bit the same for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think if it's just one player, teams can focus on how to shut that player down. And probably the games we've struggled, it's been too focused on one or two players. But the games we've been really successful and scored over 80 points, it's because we've got that spread of scoring. We've moved the ball and trusted in our team and in our structures. And, so there's been games where Ali's had 30, there's been games where she's had 8 and we've still won. So it is a really good... it's really good to have that spread, and it's even more important, like you said, to get those other players, your bench players and your role players, to come in and score your 4 to 8 and really contribute there. Because, similar comparison to AFL, the more people we can get scoring points, in particular off the bench, the better it is. And I guess with our recruits, all of them have the ability to score. Emily can score, Michaela can score, Ali can score, Loz can score. So we've got a good spread there. And then when we get the locals like your Gemmas chipping in, it's just an added bonus, and it's really hard to stop.
Reece Potter, head coach of the Launceston Tornadoes, is our special guest this evening on Tas Sports Radio. Reece, looking ahead to this weekend, as it mentioned, the machinations of what can actually happen with the ladder, we won't know really until the end of the weekend and where sides will sit. But for yourselves, looking ahead to Frankston, they're 9 and 11 and sit in 6th place on the ladder. But I believe they've got an Opal returning to their side as well. So it's certainly not going to be an easy game.
No, it's not. And we played them in Frankston, and we got them by 19 in round 7, but that was without Maddie Garrick, who's an Opals player, and one of their other players. So they play a really tough brand of basketball, and they're going to be really competitive to finish off this season. If they were sitting on the other side of the conference, they'd probably be in 3rd or 4th. So it's just they're in a really tough conference this year. But they're going to want to finish off and prove a point that they are a better team than probably their record shows. So we can't underestimate them, and we won't. Maddie Garrick's an unbelievable player. I mean, people will get to see her play this weekend, and she's a freak the way she plays the game. It's a joy to watch, but not when you're coaching against her. But yeah, no, it is going to be a really tough game this weekend.
And from all the road trips that you've made and the stadiums that you've been to, how do you compare the home support that we get here with the Tornadoes? It's always been talked about for many years compared to all the other venues that you go to around the conference.
Oh, it's massive. By far, we get the biggest crowds that any of the women's teams get. Even Hobart, I'd say we get comprehensively more to our whole game than they do. They might get, close to what we get by the end of their game, getting ready for the men's game. But we fill our stadium from start to finish, obviously, because we don't have a men's team playing after us. So I think we had about 600 odd there on Saturday night. It makes a massive difference, and they're getting louder and prouder, and it's good to see.
The support for you from the club. A question I was going to ask you a little earlier was, what were the main things that you looked at right at the very start for the Tornadoes that you thought you needed to implement, and what was the spiel that you gave the people who now entrust you with this team? What were the thought processes there? What did you really need to get this side moving?
I think we just partly had to change the culture and get a culture of professionalism, hard work, and also belief. Get a bit of confidence that we can compete with these Melbourne teams and with these mainland teams. And slowly we did develop that. And the great thing was, I know we went 1-4 to start the year, but the great thing with our group was the lack of satisfaction with that, even though we were close to Brisbane 6-point loss, close to Geelong 4-point loss, and these are teams that were in conference finals and things last year. When we spoke after the game, people in the club, good effort, da-da-da. None of the players accepted that, and that was probably the biggest thing. Our playing group had developed a culture where we wanted success and we wanted to beat those teams, and we weren't complacent and we weren't accepting of failure.
So you just all the group was, you found a very driven group. You had a very driven organisation behind that group that wanted to see some success. Do you feel that you'll never, success is, I guess, measured in a lot of different ways. How do you measure the season so far?
I mean, you can look directly at the results, obviously win-losses, and, it's an improvement. You can look at the fact that we've got the crowds, which is, we're getting slightly bigger crowds each week, which is an improvement. We're getting local girls that are contributing more and more, which is an improvement. We've kept the group together the whole season, which is really big. I mean, I know over the past couple of years that had players drop in and out, and for whatever reason, I mean, I don't know, I wasn't here, but we've kept our 11 girls, including players that have gone out with injuries, that still come to training every week and still come to every game, and still really part of that core group. So I think that team culture and chemistry has been a really big thing for us.
And just a quick one before we wrap it up. I know that you've also taken the advantage of you've sort of moved training to Devonport. You've spread yourselves around a little bit. The Tornadoes. That's something I think is not necessarily that new, but you've conducted training session on the Northwest Coast. You're always, I suppose, looking for that little gem that might be invited to training that you may not have seen. Has that worked well for you this year?
I think it has. I mean, we've had half our group from the Northwest Coast this whole season, so I think it just makes sense to take half the practices there, and that's what we've done. We've trained at East Devonport. Nice facility. They really look after us there, and I think it's made a difference for those girls just cutting down the travel, because otherwise they're making the trip up the highway a couple of times a week. So it's good to just do that, and I think, again, that builds into your team culture and sharing the load and looking after your teammate.
Well, Reece, we really appreciate your time. You're our first guest on Tas Sports Radio, so
what does he get for that, Rick? What does he get?
Well, we'll have to delve into our cupboard of gifts that we've got here.
We need to build a cupboard first.
Yeah. We will. But look, 6:30 this Saturday night, Elfin Sports Centre, Launceston Tornadoes taking on Frankston. It's going to be a great game, so we encourage everyone to get along there this Saturday night and cheer on Reece and the team. For those that want to go and check out the Hobart Chargers, they take on Frankston Friday night. That game getting underway late one, 8 p.m. So if you want to check that one out, if you're in Hobart, please get along as well. But for those up in the north, 6:30 Saturday night. Reece Potter, thanks very much, and we wish you well.
Thanks, guys.